Hey creators, welcome back to the club. We're your hosts. I'm Ebony Chapman.
And I'm Akila Friend.
You guys can see we're finally back in the studio. Well, at least I am one half. It's back in the studio. Okay, you guys, but today we're also joined by another special guest. We have self-made entrepreneur and businessman Chris Hollis. Okay, he grew up in a rough neighborhood of North Pasadena, but with the right guidance, he has been able to create something great with his clothing brand, which is just one of the many ideas he has for his company. So you guys, please, let's give a really warm welcome to Chris Hollis of Create It for Greatness to the club. Yes, we're so happy that you're here. So happy to have you. So with that little intro, that was just like one little piece.
I want to get another piece of I know you're going to go into who you are, but like North Pasadena, that's not on the list when folks talk about rough neighborhoods and folks talk about the hood or what have you. So like what makes North Pasadena on that level?
I mean, it's like any other Black community, that you would consider on that list. I wouldn't say it's a real rough neighborhood, but it's just, it's a Black and brown community that, we boxed in, like any other segregated community, they less resources, schools underfunded. A lot of violence, people getting killed, robbery, stuff like that. Sad to say that, that's a lot of Black communities that you would consider the hood, but
it's true. Okay.
I think that's a great question, Akila, because I feel like Pasadena is not too far from where I live, which is in Burbank. And I'm like, yeah, I had no idea that all this stuff was going on 20 minutes down the road. I had no clue. So it was an eye-opening experience for me as well. So I think it's really great. Like your story is really great. So can you kind of start from like, give us a short kind of synopsis? Like, I know it's kind of a lot to be like, give us the whole piece of the pie right now. But tell us a little about your story from like the beginning and how you got to the current place that you are currently right now with your business.
So just business wise or
you can give us an overview because I think that like it ties in.
Yeah. So growing up Northwest Pasadena, growing up, I was raised by a single grandmother. My mother was in prison for pretty much all my life. My father was murdered when I was 9 years old. Yeah, and then just not having that guidance. I think growing up, just trying to figure it out. Having a woman, a strong woman, being able to put, food on the table and stuff like that, but not being able to map out life for me. I had to get that from, older people in my community that, wasn't the best influence, that was just, the first people I seen when I stepped outside. So.
I think that's so first of all, thank you for being open and sharing it. Even though, this is a story that a lot of folks say, it's still your truth and it's your specific story. So I appreciate you even being open with the Black Creators Club and letting folks in on that. But I thought there was something interesting you said about being raised by a strong woman, being raised by your grandmother, but at the same time, it made me think because I come from a single parent household myself, but I'm a woman, right? And so I think there's also always a little bit of a difference being raised by a single mom or single parental figure as a young girl coming up versus a young man coming up, right? And so can you probably talk about that a little bit more?
The difference, I feel like, the pressures of, the gender roles, the, society, social norms in the sense of, boys can't cry, you got to be tough, you got to be this, you got to be that. And then just for a woman, it's different. It's like, I feel like the pressure of going through, a certain neighborhood, it may not be as much as, a gang environment to where it's like you either got to choose. It's like sports, or you choosing the game in a sense. I mean that I feel like that's the biggest difference.
I think too it's interesting to when that you brought that up too, Akila, because I feel like as a young boy growing up with a grandmother or a mom, woman figure in their life, I feel like the man becomes really protective over their mom or their grandmother or a woman in their life. And so I feel like when they grow up and they start to date or something like that, they're also that same protective vibe. And I feel like the stereotype for most women who don't grow up with a father is oh, they have daddy issues.
Yeah, that's a big stereotype.
You know, so I feel like that's kind of like a really big difference too, like just listening, that I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, I think that's true. Like, I think people kind of have like, oh, like she didn't have, you know, a father figure, this, that, and the third, like, you know, but if you don't have a father figure as a man, I feel like sometimes it can, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it can go either way. Like people might say like, oh, you're soft or something like, what, you know, I think for the most part, you get protective over the women that are in your life. Like it doesn't show up necessarily as like a super negative trait.
A negative trait for the men as opposed to the women. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Unless it's common, right? Like, because I feel it's an unfortunate truth, or whether or not you want to say it's unfortunate or not, but there's a lot of Black homes, Black and brown communities where the dad or father figure is just not around, right? And so I think that connotation is not as easily, or at least for me, I wouldn't think of myself as someone who's like, oh, because I'm without, that means I have issues. when it comes to dads, I'm like, bro, that's not even a thing. But it could be the same for somebody else who may have grown up and felt that they were less than or didn't have that, you know? So I think it all depends.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So while you were in school and in the community that you grew up in, can you talk about and like tell us a little bit how, okay, so you were into sports.
For sure, yeah.
And then, okay, so then why not pursue something more athletic than going, like now you're in corporate. So like how did you make that transition, and like who was that figure that kind of helped you guide yourself that way?
In high school, man, for sure, my football coach, he was somebody that, you know, picking me up at 6 a.m. in the morning to go lift weights, man, just having talks with me about God, just, you know, different stuff. He was like the first positive figure for me that like guided me towards, you know, a positive way, and to, you know, move into, you know, explore different avenues for myself, whether that be, you know, sports or just the business world. He was a business-minded man himself. He was an entrepreneur as well. So he was the, you know, the biggest influence for me. You know, but early on in high school, I was lost though. I was, just doing my own thing, you know, just being a little boy.
So like, how do you, because I think it's so interesting, and I love, and kudos to like folks who are teachers and just folks who are just in kids' lives. Like I'm watching Abbott Elementary and I'm like, oh my goodness, like the fact that it really just takes someone to really take a liking to you. But at the same time, as a child, like you said, you were lost at some point or just doing your own thing. Like, how did you even know, or why did you even want to listen to your high school coach? Because, you know, it's some things that there's grown folks around you, around kids all the time that are trying to probably steer them in the right path or get them interested in this and that. But as a child who's already kind of going down a path, you're probably like, yo, I don't want to listen to that shit. Like what made this high school coach someone that you're like, no, I'm going to hear what you're saying and feel that you're actually like being better for me?
I mean, you know, he looked the part. He was somebody I could relate to, you know, and then he shared his story with me, you know, the lifestyle that he lived before he became who he was. So, I mean, you know, and then he spoke the same language. It's different when you be able to speak the same language as somebody. That's the only way you could pull somebody out of a situation. You can't pull somebody out of a situation if you're not speaking their language at that moment, because everything, I'm not gonna listen to what you're saying. So.
Yeah, I think that relatability factor is like so important. But I think, you know, and it really does take the right person, because it's like, even those, I feel like it could have been anyone. Like, let's say, so when your math teacher was like, hey, like I have a story, blah, blah, blah. But if you're like, yeah, I don't really connect with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to hit the same.
Yeah.
So I think that that's great that you had that guiding light, because he was able to kind of like let you see and experience things that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. He was taking me to like football camps. He was introducing me to college coaches. Like, man, he the first person that made me even think I could even go to college. So, man, kudos to him for just, he seen something in me that I ain't seeing myself. You feel me? Like a lot of stuff I'm saying is you hear the lies cliche, but it really do work. You got to expose people to different environments for them to change and for them to expand their mind. So
that's real. How did you keep that up then? Because at some point he was no longer your high school coach, but how did you keep that same momentum going?
Yeah, I think just, you know, getting the taste of, you know, a different environments, man. I liked it. It was, you know, going to college, you know, seeing seeing different stuff. And then even before that, I transferred my high school and I went to North Hollywood High School. And when I went out there, it was a whole different environment. I used to spend the night at my quarterback house. They used to like sit down and have family dinners, stuff like that, stuff I wasn't even used to. We get our food, we'd be chilling in the living room, or we just be in the room or outside, like just eating. And they was actually sitting at the table talking, about, their day. They just like stuff. There was a family, you feel me? Like stuff you see on a movie or something. And yeah, I was like, man, this is crazy. And it's, seeing the car that he was driving to high school, my other teammates, and yeah, I was just like, man, I could
get used to this.
Yeah, it's a different lifestyle. So I think
vibe.
Yeah, I think that made me hungry for success too. When I seen that they was taking a lot of the stuff they had for granted. And I knew if I had that I would really go crazy. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's like the perspective, right? Because I think when you grow up in a space where you're like, oh, I have two parents, or you have siblings, or everyone's eating, like, you don't think it's not normal. And so it's like, and for someone else who comes into that space that's like, yeah, I've never experienced this before, like the energy in which you perceive that is different. And so I think a lot of people that we see being successful today have that like hunger in them, that have like seen something, experienced something that people are like, oh, like, I don't know, like that was normal to me. I didn't realize that was like such a big deal. But then like, those are the things that like someone else can grab onto and like propel themselves.
Or oftentimes you want to go back, right? Do you see a lot of folks that are successful, or probably you yourself in your own version of success? You think like, yo, it's not the same. Like you think of a rapper, right? Let's just name Big Sean because his lyric came in my head, like about when he want to go back to the days when he was in his closet, like doing, rapping lyrics and having that sound and having the things feel the same. Or a lot of famous right now, we'll think of Black celebrities in the entertainment field feels the need to really like go back to those 100 days when they were really striving for something more. Like, and I think it's kind of what you're saying, like on one end, it's being grateful that you have it. But on the second end, it's like, no, like, you don't realize the type of energy that someone has or someone feels when they're like, no, I have to get it because there's no other option, right? Like, do you feel that you still have that energy, or you feel like, no, I've become not complacent, but you feel like you've arrived in a sense, and you don't feel that?
Nah, not at all. I don't even think I'm nowhere near that, like that feeling at all. I'm super hungry right now. Like, I feel like my life in the sense of like my brand and like career wise, I'm at the beginning stages right now of like what's to come. You feel me? I'm putting my feet in a lot of different industries, whether that be from retail to real estate to a lot of stuff. So I'm hungry right now. I'm nowhere near complacent.
This is day one. I hear
you. Okay, so you went from athlete to corporate, and you were doing. What was like the corporate space or like job that you were doing?
So I'm still in that space. I'm not a full-time 100% entrepreneur right now. I work at Pasadena City College right now. I'm an educator, but I'm an athletic zone coordinator. So I work with a lot of the athletes, making sure that, they stay eligible. They meeting with academic counselors, making sure that, they trying to get the, scholarships they need to, move on to the next level. So.
Wow, what does it mean to work there? I didn't know. It's kind of coming full circle, how you're saying the person or one of the people that was the most influential in your life was your high school coach. And now here you are doing this at a college level.
Yeah. I mean, that's what he told me. He always told me, like, he said, man, I'm doing this for you to pay it forward, and I was like pay it forward, what that mean? But paying it forward was really just like, I'm changing your life so you can change somebody else's life. You know what I'm saying? So it was that type of energy he always told me. And I think God always got a plan for people. And like honestly, a lot of stuff that I be doing and like the way I be moving, it's something that's just in me. You feel me? It's not something that I'm just like, I wake up trying to do. It's just like it's natural. Like the spaces that I'm in, the people that I meet, everything is natural. And I'm just trying to move in my purpose, and anything that's outside of my purpose, I just try to eliminate that. I'm just trying to stay focused, really.
You sound like very focused. I have to give you that. Like, what made you decide to say like, or figure out what your purpose truly is, And before you answer, or while you're thinking of your answer, I was listening today to to a like church remotely, and this the pastor was saying, like, you know what, before you even start the day, before you even go out, you have to tell yourself who you are, right? And if you don't tell yourself who you are, you're going to enter environments where the world is going to tell you who you are, and more importantly, or probably more like worse, they're going to tell you who you're not, right? And so you have to be that person to say who you are to yourself. And so that's kind of the same thing as what you're saying in your own way. So I'm just curious, like, how did you find your purpose? How did you find that sense of, like, you know, hunger in a sense, and self? Yes.
Man, honestly, you know, through God, through my faith, you know, I wouldn't say I found my purpose. I think, you know, a lot of times you just got to pay attention to the signs. Like, we all get those slight moments where we see like the best percentage of ourselves. And I think you got to pay attention to that. And every time that you see that, you gotta chase that, you know, that feeling of like, dang, I know this is my purpose, because every time I do this work, I feel like I'm at my highest self right now. And I remember those moments. I write them down. I'm like, I gotta move this way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is like a really good piece of advice. And I also feel like it's difficult at times to always feel motivated or feel ready to do stuff, because I mean, people are pulling you in different ways, right? Like, if we're being honest, it's not just like, oh, you get to wake up and then like follow your dream every day. It's like, you have to wake up, you're like working a 9 to 5 or whoever you're working for, and their needs come before yours at that moment, right? Because they're paying you. And then at the end of the day, you're like still trying to figure out your own path and make your way. And you mentioned that you're doing real estate. And so it's like studying for that, doing like a lot of different places are pulling you, and you want to focus your energy on a lot of things. And sometimes it does get mumbled, but I think the idea of writing it down when you are having those winning moments to be able to refer back to is genius, honestly. So I'm definitely writing.
And it helps probably like just, you know, you to be able to just decipher your own life. Because if you recognize a lot of your good moments or the moments where you're feeling this way is happening in this area, maybe you gotta X some of those other areas so that so that you can do more of that. So that's real.
Yeah. So okay, let's talk about your brand, Created for Greatness. So it's describe to what it is, because I know you have Young Black America, which you're wearing on your hat right now today, which is like your clothing, like one area of Created for Greatness. So, you know, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So the brand is called We Are Created for Greatness. We are CFG. Created for Greatness is the umbrella. Young Black America is like an avenue. It's like a lane underneath the umbrella, pretty much. I started with Young Black America, was like my first drop in 2020, with all the stuff that was going on with, like, you know, George Floyd, you know, and just that whole the stuff that was going on in 2020. But I had it before that. I had it in like 2018, 2019. It was like little bits and pieces, like, you know, like underneath. God was building it up. So I went to Africa in 2018, and I was in like the Jamestown area, and it was like these ladies, they just kept calling, like the group I was with, they just kept calling us like Young Black Americans. And I'm like that's the first time somebody called me that. I'm like, where I'm from, we the Young and Black. You know, they don't really be like,
true.
You know, or yeah. So it was.
Oh, child, that's a whole word. But go ahead.
Yeah. So but that sparked it though, for sure. Like it originally wasn't supposed to be like a clothing line or anything like that. It was supposed to be something to where I could take people from like similar situations and environments that I'm in, and take them to Africa and let them experience like, you know, our you know, where we come from, our roots, like, you feel me? Because a lot of that stuff is lost. You know, when you come, you know, when you Black in America, it's like, just like from my perspective and my upbringing, is just straight poverty, gang banging. It you know, that it's that environment. But we really come from, you know, royalty. You feel me? Like other stuff, like the Kumasi region in Ghana. I got to see that. Like, it was crazy. Like we don't come from just, you feel me, picking cotton like that. You know, I think a lot of people don't understand that. So that was the message behind Young Black America. But I put it on a t-shirt in 2020. My homegirl seen it on Instagram, and she reposted it. She told me to pull up, and then it just went crazy like that. You know, not really on the ground, but like in real life, like in the streets, it went crazy. So
describe the crazy. Like, what do you mean it went crazy?
Crazy. What we talking about?
Man, I'm talking about people hitting my DM wanting me to pull up on them. People pulling. I got videos, man. I go to my Instagram right now and just go through the highlights. People just pulling up, to my grandma crib, just just buying everything. Yeah, I gotta go back to downtown LA. I didn't know what I was doing. I just print this on the t-shirt, man. We going. My Cash App hitting like some nice racks in there, and I was like, man.
We need to tap into young people. What is
it? Yeah, it was crazy though. The support was crazy, man. And like I said, like a lot of times, God, like once you just start, moving, God gonna do the rest. You feel me? He gonna make everything else happen. I feel like that's what it was. I feel like that's why I'm moving in my purpose, because I just follow my gut. Once you follow your gut, God gonna do the rest. So
that's real. That's real. So what do you provide? Obviously you have the shirts and the hats. Is that what's a part of the apparel line?
So we got hoodies, crew necks, joggers, hats. Yeah, that's what we got right now. But I'm dropping some more stuff in the fall, and then I also just dropped some Credit for Greatness stuff, which is like bucket hats, some windbreaker coaches jackets, and some tees. But I got a whole, like I said, I feel like I'm just beginning for real. Like I got a whole lot more stuff we going into that's outside of like hoodies and stuff, more like upscale wear.
Right.
So yeah.
That's awesome. Like we hear from your perspective what made you call it Young Black America, and that resonates. But what made it resonate with the folks that bought it? Like what were some of the reviews that you got, or some of the reasons why you thought people really wanted to buy and wear something that said Young Black America?
Because I think it represents, us. It's something that's like something that was always on my mind, and something I heard my homeboy say was like, it's like putting your skin on a t-shirt. You feel me? It's like somebody, like a lot of times, like people don't like to, like you can't be scared to wear it. You feel me? Because it's good. You're just gonna turn heads, and that was the, one of the reasons why I put it on the shirt, was like people feel uncomfortable when it's a 10, 15 dudes walking in the room with a Young Black America t-shirt on. You feel me? It's like, if you're from a different background, different race, you're gonna feel some like uncomfortable, but it's like, right, really, why should you feel uncomfortable? Because it's just like, my skin is the same thing. I'm young, I'm Black, and I'm in America. So if you feel some way about my t-shirt, then you feel some way about my skin that I'm walking around in. So a lot of people bought it because they wanted to be bold and they wasn't scary. So
I love that. Drop mic, that's it. No, we love that. I mean, we can relate with the type of podcast that we do here, and the type of merch that we sell as well. So like we get it. Like it does take a strong person to like want to wear something that is so bold, but like it shouldn't be bold, right? Like if people can walk around with like Make America Great Again hats, and that shit's not looked at as any way except like you're supporting the former president. And it's like, that shouldn't be looked at any way of like, we're wearing like Young Black America. Like if that's what we want to claim and what it is, then it's like, it really shouldn't be a threat, but it is. And I think that's what kind of makes what we do here. Like I'm saying you, us, everyone like on the Zoom, that it's kind of like makes it the message even more important, because we are not shying away from like what it is that like we're claiming. We're reclaiming our space, reclaiming our time. Okay.
Reclaiming our blackness. There we go.
Blackness.
I like that.
I always come up with cute little things over in the middle of the episode.
She got them sayings. I like that.
You like that? You like that? Well, it's gonna be trademarked on the BlackCreatorsClub.com. Shop it.
Wait, we can do a little collab. We can figure it out. Hey, listen, you got the network. We listen. It's all open.
It is, exactly. Everybody eats. We're here for it. You know what I want to know too?
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it's one thing to know that you're doing a business, like you get the LLCs, you get the draft the drawings and talk to the people that's going to create it. But it sounds like for Young Black America and for Created for Greatness in general, this is something I wouldn't fell into in like a good way. It's kind of like you just walked into that purpose in a sense. So what is it like, or how is it like taking something that truly was just a passion of yours and something that you thought people needed, and now it sounds like really turning it into a business that you can like thrive off of and potentially do full time? Like, what is that process like for someone who probably also stumbled upon something that they're like, oh, okay, people really rock with this. Let me take this to the next level.
Yeah, the process is, man, you got to be focused. Like sometimes I'll be up at 2 o'clock in the morning work. 'Cause from first I do everything myself, from the designs to the website to getting the clothes, everything. So it take a lot of attention to detail, take a lot of time. Um, yeah, just belief in yourself, because you're gonna come across those moments where you doubting yourself. You're gonna be like, I should just go back to my job and just be comfortable. But I mean, it just take like a relentless mindset. You really gotta just go for it, go all in. And you gotta believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in what you're doing and you have doubt in what you're doing, it ain't gonna work. You feel me? Like anytime you have doubt with something, it already you start going downhill. So yeah, just a crazy belief in myself, and just actually just being able to learn from other people and reach out to people that's doing what I'm doing, and just learn from their mistakes, and then learn from what they doing right.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that. I second that. So this is kind of like a two-part question. So what does it mean to you to be young Black, a male living in America? And I guess what have been some challenges that you've witnessed or faced as a young Black man?
Being young Black in America, to me, is like, from my perspective, is amazing. It's great. Like we look what we're doing right now. Like, you feel like we really drive the culture. I feel like everything from music to sports to everything. It's us. You feel me? And I'm just excited. You feel me? I'm happy to be Black. Every day I wake up, like, I don't got no negative thoughts about it, nothing. Like, I'm pumped. I'm glad God made me Black, man. I'll be like, man, I want to be with nothing else. Like, you feel me? We got all the seasonings, so. But
right, we all the season to the gumbo. I hear you. I hear you.
You said the second part
was just like, what challenges have you witnessed or faced as like being a young Black male?
I mean, just the stereotypes, like, I see how people treat me when I'm in a suit, or if I'm dressed like, like with a hat and a hoodie on. It's like night and day. You feel me? Like the smiles, the respect I get when I'm in a suit, when I'm at work, when I'm going to the grocery store, or and then when I wear this, it's like I'm a whole nother person to them. So it's like, I think that's a big challenge. And then this also, just for me, the environment that I grew up in, I feel like, I don't want to speak that all young Black America is the hood, because it's not. Every being Black got so many different avenues to it. But from my perspective, that was the challenges faced. Just a lot of the stereotypes, and just feeling like you at the bottom of the barrel. So
yeah, that's great. And it's so interesting, and I think that's a lot of folks' experiences. Like, you wake up knowing, loving being Black, but sometimes the experience or the environment that you're in tries so hard to challenge that, and tries so hard to make you feel like you shouldn't enjoy it, or if only I was this, then life would be easier. But it's like, part of life, or I guess part of being Black in America, is recognizing, like, still I rise type of thing. And so I think that's awesome. Are you still living in North Pasadena?
No, I live in East LA right now.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, like, I don't know if when you go back, or potentially East LA, similar environments, like, how is it now being a grown Black male, as opposed to like growing up and, in those environments? So probably going back to North Pasadena, East LA, or just, just living in LA in general.
Yeah, I work, in Pasadena. I'm always, out there a lot. I would say the difference is, just be, I got a car, I'm not catching a bus. I ain't,
upgrades.
Yeah, it's two different environments. So when you catching a bus, when you walk in different places, and then my mindset as well. So it's like I'm in different spaces. So right now, I would say I'm not experiencing the things I felt when I was younger, because I move different, and I'm in different, different spaces. But honestly, it's not too much of a big difference though. Like, people still look at you, certain way. I still look young, I got a baby face. So people still think I'm like 18, 19 for real. So, yeah.
Wow, that okay, that's good. I mean, you want to hold on to that as long as you can.
Yeah. Right.
So what do you think that your brand is doing to kind of like bridge the gap, or make a difference or change perspectives?
For sure. I mean, that's the
and what more do you think you could do?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the credit for greatness part. I think it's a statement letting you know, like we young, we black, we in America, but we created for greatness. Like we not what you trying to, portray us as, or what we think you think we are. And bridging the gap, man. Just I've been meeting recently to turn young Black America into what it's actually supposed to be, which is we're gonna be doing civil rights tours, actually taking people out the country. So really exposing them to a different environment, going back to what I talked about earlier, just being able to, expand people's mind and show them something different. I think, what we about to do is going to really like change a lot of people's minds. And we're not doing it to where it's just college students like how I had to be in college to experience going to Africa. I want it to be totally different to where it's like people that's not in college, people that's like don't got access to a lot of this stuff. We going to fund y'all to get y'all mind right and experience something totally different. So
I love that caveat because it's true. Like when you think of a lot of major opportunities or things people are doing for other folks, it's either you're really young, you're in high school, getting on your way, or you're in college. What happens for the folks who don't fill either of those gaps? Probably you're a high school dropout. Probably, you just didn't go to college, or, still want to experience life and still want to build something outside of kind of the traditional avenues. So that's dope. What do you think is next for you outside of the trips and outside of kind of the things that you're planning through your lifestyle brand?
What's next for me, man? Jumping into the real estate industry for real. That's something I'm excited about, man. Being able to purchase my first house and purchase something for my family. Yeah, that's like the next. That's really what I'm working on right now behind the scenes. Yeah, and I said I wasn't going to expose that. I'm kind of superstitious.
I was about to say we didn't have to.
It's all good though. I also believe in manifesting. So me speaking it is gonna make it happen too. So I believe in that, and yeah, I mean that's what's next for me. And then this everything tied to the brand as well. Like everything is full circle. Like from getting spaces for young Black America. You feel me? That tied to what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm just trying to go crazy for real. Because tomorrow ain't promised for real. That's how I look at life. That's how I chase everything. So I'm just trying to make it happen.
We love it. And who else is trying to make it happen as being young Black and in America? Right. Akila, tell us.
Black Creators Club. I feel like you guys filled in that sentence at home and in your ears, but just in case you didn't, the answer is clearly what's right in front of you. We work really hard to do this show. So the best way that you can support us is just to tell friends, subscribe to our YouTube page, our Apple page, our Spotify podcast. Everything is at the Black Creators Club. And when you do, please rate and leave a review. It goes such a long way so we can be able to keep providing this awesome, amazing, inspiring content that we do week over week. So if you have any questions, suggestions, want to be a guest, know someone that would be a great guest, definitely contact us at theblackcreatorsclub@gmail.com.
Period. I hope y'all was taking notes. Okay, great. Okay, so we are going to get into a little game. Now, honestly, I really feel like this game is challenging. So like, I apologize ahead of time. But essentially, okay, the game is called Created for Greatness. And we're gonna like name or describe some like action, a movement, or a product that a Black person has made for us young Black Americans to enjoy. Okay, well, really everyone enjoys, but since we're gonna keep it blackly Black here. So a product that a Black person has contributed to society, showing that we truly are created for greatness. Okay, so are you ready?
Give the main thing though. These next couple questions is going to be like a food. So that's just hopefully help you when it comes to categorizing at least the first two questions that we're going to ask.
You said food?
This one is
yeah.
But I think you'll get it in the hint. I feel like I think you will. Okay, ready? Okay, so it's a food paste or spread made from this ground nut, also known as an earth nut. It commonly contains additional ingredients that modifies the taste and texture, such as salt or sugars.
Ooh,
no, you got this.
Yeah, this was tough. So it's the pear. When you think of like Oh, you're giving?
Yeah, I'm gonna give them hints. So you can eat it with apples. You can eat it on bread. You can put it in a sandwich in between.
Oh, is it like Nutella or like
something like that?
Butter?
Yes,
peanut butter. Yes.
Yeah.
George Washington Carver. Thanks to him.
Jelly sandwiches be,
Yeah, right. Okay, this next one is a mixture of milk, cream, sugar, and sometimes other ingredients that has been frozen into a soft, creamy delight using special techniques. And if you're riding through the Hudson Times or not, the regular areas as well, and trucks, you sometimes hear the music blasting and you know it's outside for you to grab.
You said it's creamy.
Yeah, it's a frozen milk, cream, and sugar. Some people have different flavors. Sometimes you could put sprinkles.
I'm pretty sure
you're fine because it's like you're clear, like this ain't your bag, but at the same time, you love it. You enjoy it. Kids love it, especially.
Dessert.
It's a dessert.
Oh.
Mr. Softy, was Mr. Softy in LA? In Pasadena?
I think it's like
you talking about like snow cones, like freeze, like
okay.
Yeah.
And brown.
Yeah. And we put the different colors in it. Okay, like
there we go. There. Ice cream.
Ice cream.
Oh, ice cream truck. Oh,
I was like the truck that comes by.
I thought y'all talking about something specific. Yeah, ice cream. Yeah, ice cream truck. You got. Oh. I just said the music. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right, she said it.
Okay.
She said it. It's okay. I know you were focused on trying to figure out what it was. It's fine. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this one it's a movement. Okay. Okay. So we're getting off the food train. Okay. So it's a struggle for justice, for equality for African Americans that took place mainly in the 1950s and 1960s.
Civil rights movement.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Come on, Dr. King. Now you're on my lane.
Yeah. There we go. just when we started getting there, we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for playing. This was dope. Chris, just let us know more about, or let our listeners know where they can find more about you, where they can probably purchase your merch, like things of that nature.
You can follow me on Instagram at CG Hollis. That's my personal Instagram, CG Hollis. Then my business Instagram is at WeAreCFG. You can type in just Creative for Greatness, it should pop up. And then as well, my website is wearecfg.com, which is spelled WEARECFG.com. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, Akilah, where can they find you on Instagram or?
Look, on Instagram. You can find me chatting media and life motivation, all with the dash of style at Akilah Friend on all platforms. Eb, where can they find you?
Yes, you guys can find me on Instagram at EbonyChapman12, talking everything Black on business, and of course, the Black Creators Club. You guys, we've had such a fun time. Thank you, Chris, for joining us today. Thank you for this amazing, honest conversation about business and just kind of getting through life and how to keep focused on all of the different avenues and multi-hyphenates that we all have to have here, being Black, being young, Black, and in America, okay? So please continue to stay tuned. And you guys remember to always abide by your ABCs.
Always be creating. Bye, guys.